Okay, so we're back for part 2. You can see the style we did on Rosemary. And here she is right after we have unwrapped her hair from how we left it last night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start taking down our twist. You can see what it kind of looks like here as we take down the twist. So since it hasn't dried all the way, you're not going to get the look of a true twist out. That really takes us more like 48 to 72 hours to achieve. So here it is. I've taken out all the twists, and we've just kind of brushed through it with the Denman brush and get this look. So the hair is maybe just a tiny bit damp. It's partly stretched, and it's ready for us to go ahead and style. It looks great. It feels nice. Rosemary's loving it. Okay, we're going to use this edge control and this hard bristle brush first, and a silk scarf that Rosemary's holding for me. So we just put the edge control around her edges here in the front, and smooth it in really good just around the edges. And then we're going to brush it with the hard bristle brush just to brush those edges back and get them good and set in before we start our style. So we will wrap it with the silk scarf and let it sit for about 30 minutes. When we unwrap, the edges are laid down a little bit. Now, I'll be honest, this is an area where I really need to learn and improve. I can never seem to get Rosemary's edges really laying down. So, I'm still working on it. Alright, so let's go ahead and part the hair and get started with our style. So I'm going to do some cornrows, some thick cornrows across the top of her head. Just going in straight lines here, right across the top. So I'm going to band off the parts that I'm not using yet and just clip the part that I'll be using next. Okay, so I'm brushing the edges back again with the hard bristle brush before I get started. Now I'm going to use some Let's Jam. You can see it down there in the corner, the black with the green top. The Let's Jam gel, regular hold, as I'm braiding. Okay, so I went ahead and did a rough braid on the first section. I'll have to come back and redo this. It doesn't look great, but I always kind of have to do a rough braid on that first one and then come back to it because I can never get that front section down quite right if I start there. So maybe you can, like I say, I'm still a work in progress, so this is just what I have to do to make it look good. So the front is a mess, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cornrow this section right here. So I'm putting Let's Jam on all around the edges, near the parts, at the root, and that's going to help me to get a really good grip, and it's also going to help the style to stay. It'll cut down on some of the fuzziness as well, so you really want to put a styling gel in at this point. Okay, so take the top section, and you're going to split it into 3 just like you would for a traditional braid. Now, instead of going over like you would on a French braid, you can see I'm pulling each hair under. Then we're going to grab a section, add it into the far right, and then do 2 braids. Then we're going to grab another section, add it into the far right piece, and do 2 unders. Okay, and then grab another small section, add it to the far right piece, and do 2 twist unders of the braid. You're going to continue this all the way down. Grab a small section, always add it to the right, and pull under, under. Grab a small section, add it to the right, pull under, under. You're going to go all the way down to that part line that we made earlier. Then we'll just finish off the braid like you normally would. When you get to the bottom, if you can't quite braid it, it's always fine to twist it to the end. You can see here, this is a much neater corner than my first one. I'm just getting off the excess gel that has come out as I braided and adding it to the next section. You can see the big difference here between this one and my first one, where the edges are poking out and it's just very fuzzy. So like I say, I'll come back and redo that one in just a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple more braids quickly, and you can follow along.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping.
When I first started trying to cornrow Rosemary's hair, I was following the old way that I knew how to do on my own hair, which was a French braid. But if you do that, if you go over the way that you do in a French braid instead of under, then the braid isn't going to sit on top nicely the way that it does here. You don't want to hide the braid the way we do in a French braid. You want it to kind of sit on top of the section. So that's why you want to learn this new way of braiding if you don't already know. I'm still working it out. I need lots of improvement. But this is kind of where we are now and what it's looking like for us these days. I hope I'll look back at this video in a year and be like, wow, that was terrible. Because I've come such a long way. Hopefully, we'll see. But Rosemary and I really enjoy learning this together. She and I are both new to it and learning together. So now I've got the whole top section done with these braids, and then I'm just going to tuck them in together. Okay. Now I'm going to section off the remaining hair by putting a part line right at the middle of her hair. So then I have a big section over to the side that I'm going to be working with. And then on the section where I was already braiding, I've just banded that off with a small rubber band. Now, I'm going to have cornrows now going straight back and curving around to the back of her head, coming to that middle part line. So I'm still doing the same sort of cornrows, still using this Let's Jam gel, and still braiding down to the very end. If your ends look a little fuzzy, just add a little more Let's Jam to the ends. Continue parting off, add Let's Jam, band what you don't need so it doesn't get in your way. Try to pull back the edges as much as you can. Like I said, that's an area where I need huge improvement, so I don't always get the edges all the way back. Then I'm going to go ahead and start with a cornrow again. So we're going to just keep cornrowing all the way back on her head. It's going to come straight back and then kind of turn that corner to go back to the middle part line at the back of her head.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead.
Alright, so we've gotten it all braided off, and you can see what it looks like here. And now I just have all the loose ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist those together and bring them back into a big braid right at the center. Use Let's Jam again. For this part, I just kind of rubbed it on my hands and rubbed it over the end pieces. And then I'm just kind of tucking them in together so that they stay together and bringing them back. Once I get all the top pieces together, I'm just going to kind of twist down to the end and leave it for a minute while I work on the bottom section. Okay, so this part is done, and let's start at the bottom. So I'm going to have Rosemary look down, and I'm going to come up from the bottom up to the top of her head. I'm going to just be twisting them together again, however it works for you to get them together. And then I'm going to twist the top piece and the bottom piece together. want to, you can use a pin. I find with rosemary's hair, it holds pretty well once it dries. So we'll just leave it just like that. It's almost like a little bun. And okay, so you can see I still need some improvement here. My corners are a little bit fuzzy and I definitely have a lot of edge show. But Rosemary and I are both really happy. Rosemary loves it. We added a bow here. It looks great.